Hey guys, it's Kevin again. This is going to be my review for Awkward Season 4, Episode 4, Sophomore Sluts. And this was the best episode of the season. Everything I've wanted in this season so far was in this episode. You know, the past things I've wanted was who really, can we really trust Eva? We found that out in this episode. What was the whole deal with that? What's really Maddie's personal life? We saw that in this episode. We got a little bit more of Tamara and Jake in this episode, but mainly this episode focused on this group called the Sophomore Sluts. It's basically about, Palos Hills is having their annual Spirit Week, which my school does that, but my school doesn't do what Awkward did. What we do is we do like basically a theme all week, and then we have a pep rally. That's not what they did on this show. I thought it was actually kind of interesting what they did, because it was untraditional, which I do like that about Awkward, that it's pretty untraditional. But basically, the beginning of the episode, if you remember, Jenna was very worried about, what happened with Eva and everything, and she wakes up, she's realizing she's overslept, and as she's getting dressed, she's very stressed out, basically trying to figure out whether, Maddie and Eva are hooking up, why she was at his house, actually, basically trying to figure out what's going on. So she calls, she tries to call, Tamara, and, Jenna says she's sorry, she's running late, and she then starts saying all this shit about Eva. She starts talking shit about Eva, basically saying how, she has these very long legs and everything, and then Eva's actually on the phone. She's like, this is not Tamara, this is Eva, and I'm just like, yeah, that's awkward for you, because literally that's one of the most awkward situations you could be in, and I mean, seriously, when that scene happened, I thought that was hilarious, because imagine if that were to happen. That's honestly hilarious, and that does happen sometimes. Tamara was busy. Tamara is obviously stressed out in this episode because of everything that's going on. Jenna shows up with the caffeine and food for Tamara, and Tamara tells her to get over Maddie and who he may be hooking, and basically get over Eva as well, and basically to get over Maddie and Eva, and Tamara gets a call on her second phone, and she got for Autumn, who, if you remember, Autumn is the girl that she's pretending to be with Jake. Now, that wasn't really the subplot in this episode, because Maddie and Jake had their own plot in this episode. So yeah, that was definitely very, very, interesting. And basically, we see Eva come up to, Jake's being very rude to Tamara at this point. Very, very rude. Not only is he, she tells Jenna she's freaking out about Spirit Week, because they may lose Spirit Week, because there is this group called, basically, they're gonna lose Spirit Week, and, she asks Jake for help, and Jake's like, it's your problem, you're the class president, you deal with it, and Jake and Maddie are just laughing at this whole thing, and, it honestly I was very surprised by how they were acting in this episode. I think it's kind of like, the way they're kind of showing is that senior year is really starting to destroy them, it seems, and, Eva asks for help, and Maddie helps her, hang up a banner, which Jenna's upset about, obviously. And then we see this group called the Sophomore Sluts. And when I say these girls are, and let me just say this. I'm not one with slut shaming. I'm not okay with slut shaming. I think slut shaming is wrong. Like, if you jokingly call someone a slut, that's fine, but don't slut shame people. I don't think it's right. However, these girls were complete sluts. I mean, they wore, like, tank tops and short shorts, like, seriously, stuff that if you were to wear that in my school, you would be in big trouble. So, I love how Awkward pushes boundaries. I think that's definitely really funny, how they can do that. And, Jenna and Tamara, they're not happy to see them as they hang all over Jake and Maddie. And basically, Jake and Maddie, obviously, they're into them. And basically, they have these colored hair extensions in, and Eva tells them each color indicates what they'll do. The pink indicates a blowjob. I thought that was kind of funny. Blowjob, regular sex, and anal. Basically, she's saying they'll do anything. And I thought that scene was definitely really funny. And, Tamara calls them sluts. Valerie says, oh, let's not slut shame them. But Valerie has also looks like one of the sophomore sluts. I thought that was definitely really funny. Valerie has no clue that they are sophomore sluts. She's basically saying, oh, it's just the new look and everything. You need to be more hip. I thought that was definitely really funny. And I thought that was probably one of the funniest parts. Now, I will get to, Alyssa and Sadie in a second, but basically, then the first competition of Spirit Week starts, and it's time for then the first round is Chubby Bunny. And Chubby Bunny, if you guys don't know that, I'm sure you guys know that. It's that thing on YouTube, you know, where you stuff marshmallows into your mouth, and you have to keep saying Chubby Bunny, Chubby Bunny, Chubby Bunny, and you have to keep saying until you stuff marshmallows in your mouth. And basically, Maddie is usually the one who's doing it, but Kyle asks if he can do it since he doesn't get sugar at home, and Maddie tells him to go for it, and Kyle's eating them. And by the way, Maddie, this whole episode, total wreck. Maddie is slowly ruining his life in this episode. You can clearly see that in this episode. I will get to some things he's doing, but this whole episode, he's a total wreck. And basically, it's turning into a disaster for the seniors, because the sophomore sluts, you know, they're having no problem saying Chubby Bunny and everything. And this girl, the head of the sophomore sluts, you can call her Mackenzie, that girl, she ends up winning, you know, for the sophomores. So the sophomores won, obviously. And, that girl is definitely gonna be interesting to see if she sticks around, because basically what happens is, after that happens, you know, Jenna's talking to Maddie, but that girl Mackenzie comes up and pulls Maddie away, and basically tries to, you know, basically she's saying how now Jenna realizes that Maddie has no interest in her. You know, Eva's for talking, and Mackenzie's for the sex and everything. So Jenna slowly realizes that, you know, clearly that Maddie wants nothing to do with her. So then it's time for, like, this hallway thing, which I thought was kind of funny. The girls are dressed as robots as the judges come by to check them out, and they think they're really good, but then they go to see the sophomores, and the sophomores just, seriously, what they did was completely just inappropriate, and something that at my school would never happen. The sophomores are in a jungle theme. The girls are in these leopard bikinis, obviously, and everyone loves that. So the sophomores win that as well. So the sophomores are doing very well at this point. So it's definitely very interesting there. So they're winning practically everything, and it seems like there's nothing they can do. It seems like there's nothing they can do to lose. Tamara then tells Jenna that she's late because she was up all night catfishing Jake, and unfortunately what happened was when she was talking to Jake, she freaks out because Jake started talking about how his ex was controlling and just okay looking, and she gets really upset, and Jenna says, oh, don't worry about it, he's the crazy one. And you know what, Jenna's right. Jake is really going crazy too, kind of out of character for Jake, but I understand why he was doing it. Definitely, these girls are slowly, making these guys go insane, kind of, it seems. So Sadie says Jenna's a loser and can't teach them anything, basically because they have no leader, because Tamara was supposed to be the leader, but because of that, Jenna has to teach them, and Sadie says, oh, you're no leader, and Eva says she can help out, and you know what, I really liked Eva helping out in this episode. I definitely enjoyed seeing that. And then the next scene I thought was definitely very interesting. I really loved the next scene. By the way, they're preparing for the Powder Puff in this part, which we do that at my school. The senior girls do have a Powder Puff game. I didn't go see it, or I didn't see it or anything when it was at my school, but I know we do that. This next scene I really loved because it really started to show, this next scene kind of starts to show how Maddie's life is slowly destroying his life, because he comes to talk to his mom, basically wanting to talk to her, obviously, about the adoption, and, you know, basically, she's talking about a dent in his car, and basically not giving a shit about it, and she's saying, gee, thanks, Mom, and if I had a secret, you know, if you and Dad keep the secret from me, I'd be really upset about it, and then he leaves, because he's really upset that she just basically didn't tell him what he wanted to hear. So, I mean, we've always seen that Maddie's parents are not good parents. We saw that last year in Season 3, and now we're really starting to see it, and I'm very glad we're going into more of Maddie's personal life, because even though the show is basically about Jenna, we haven't really seen too much of Maddie's personal life, and I really like seeing that in this episode, because it was fantastic to see, and I really hope we see more of this, because for all we know, this could be the last season. I mean, the show is basically about high school, so I don't see the show lasting that much longer, at least one more season, but I definitely think going into Maddie's personal life, I think that was great that they did that in this episode. So Jenna goes over to, you know, her mother, her dad, and Allie. And Allie and Lacey are talking about how they were the sophomore sluts when they used to be in school. And, you know, her dad, Kevin, is basically telling them how, you know, you can't blame it on the guys. You know, they're just having some fun. And he says senior girls are too stressful and they just want it to be easy. And I thought that was, you know, he's definitely has a point there. But we do, after this scene happens, he is completely wrong. Because Jake and the sophomores are there. And, you know, they're there in a mall where, you know, Maddie's doing his job and everything. And I thought this scene was very interesting. Remember how Maddie had that job in episode 1? Well, Jake and all the girls come up to Maddie, and they say, what are you doing here? And he basically says, you know, they want him to eat, some yogurt with them, and, basically going to a frozen yogurt place, and, he says, you know what, I'm done with this job. This job is stupid, and he leaves his job. So, now his mother's lied to him, and he's left his job. So, I was very surprised that this happened. And as soon as, you know, the guy comes out, he says, you know, you leave, don't come back. Maddie flips this guy off. And definitely that's showing that Maddie really does not give a shit about anything. And I was very, I thought that was definitely a very big scene. I was not expecting that to happen at all. I was not expecting that. And I thought that was definitely a very well done scene. I really do like seeing Maddie slowly unraveling. I thought that was great. So now it's time for the Powder Puff game, and the sophomore girls do surprise the seniors because they come in half naked. They have basically a bra on, and then like, as you would call them, booty shorts. That's what they have on. Again, that would never happen in real life, but this is awkward. So I do like that. Again, they can push boundaries, but that was definitely pretty funny, and they slowly realize that, you know, we're not going to win here. They don't have any cheerleaders, though, because Jake and Maddie are, Kyle tells them that the senior guys aren't cheering because Jake and Maddie aren't, and Tamara comes over, demands they get up and cheer. Jake tells her she has crazy eyes. She says it's the least you can do. Jake says the least they can do is go cheer for the sophomore girls, and that's what they decide to do. They go over to cheer for the sophomore girls, and, he and Maddie walk over to the other bleachers, and basically, the only people that are interested in cheerleading are Kyle and Jenna's dad, Kevin. I thought that was hilarious, personally. I thought that was definitely really funny. I mean, her dad definitely is great at supporting her, but, I mean, they are the only people that can do it. And so as the game's going on, the game's going on and everything, and it's not going well for them. The sophomores, of course, are winning, and at halftime, Eva tells Jenna she needs to give them an inspiring speech, and the inspiring speech that Jenna can give is not really an inspiring speech, because she tells them, clearly the sophomores are better than us, we're gonna lose, and we just have to face it that we're gonna lose, and, you know, Sadie says that was the worst speech ever, and as soon as they go out there, they end up all fighting, you know, because one of the girls is picking on Jenna. I think it was Mackenzie that was picking on Jenna. She pulls Jenna's hair, and she snaps. That makes her snap. And she says those girls were not the problem. It was Maddie. And Eva comes over, yanks the girl's extension, and basically it just turns out into a whole fight, and Val has to break up the fight. So definitely that was really big. And, you know, the next scene, I love the next scene, because this whole episode, Jenna really didn't know what to think about Eva. And finally we got to see, I love this. I really did, because I really wanted to like Eva. This episode, I now love her character. I do. I love her character. I love where they're going with her character. And I'm really happy because she basically comes up to Jenna, and Jenna's really upset because they just lost Spirit Week for the first time. And basically, Eva comes in, and basically she tells Jenna that she has her back, you know, basically Jenna says, thank you for having my back and everything, and Jenna says, you know, I didn't know you and Maddie dated before. If that would have happened, I would have let you in, and I'm really sorry. I want to be a friend to you and everything, and basically she tells her that she's there for her, and that, you know, she's there for her, and that she comes with this really fun motto, you know, bros before hoes. Well, because they're girls, they do chicks before dicks. I thought that was kind of funny, the way she said that, and that definitely is a good motto that she said. So basically what Eva's saying is that she's going to be there for Jenna. She's not going to go after Maddie anymore, and she's going to be there for Jenna. So I'm very happy that she was there for her. Now, the very last scene of the episode is very surprising. Maddie and Jake are both very, very drunk at this point. You can tell that they're drunk or high or something because they're not acting like themselves. Maddie is putting his truck into gear. They're dancing outside of it. The truck is, literally speeding down the highway, and, the girls are there screaming. The girls are screaming too, and Jake is filming. They're trying to hotwire his truck, I think, and, the guys, they end up chasing after it, but his car ends up crashing, and that's obviously not good. And obviously, the sophomore girls cheer at this, so now Maddie is in deep shit, because he's lost his job, he doesn't have a good relationship with his mother, and now his truck has crashed. So, as I said, Maddie is slowly destroying himself, and I actually really love that plot in this episode because they really touched upon that, and I was very happy that they did touch upon that, because I just thought it was very interesting that they got into Maddie's personal life, and I'm really interested in seeing where this is going to go. I hope we see more of that in the next episode, which I definitely am really looking forward to. Now, let's get to the other plot, which had to do with Sadie and Lissa. This was actually really funny. I thought Sadie was taking things too far, though. Sadie goes up to Lissa and says, well, you know what? I started to think about Jesus and how you're so loyal to Jesus. Jesus might not want us to do cheerleading. I thought that was kind of funny. And she basically starts telling lies to Lissa that people are talking behind her back, saying that she is getting very conceited. And, Lissa is very confused about this. So what happens is Lissa's teaching the guys, some cheers, but Sadie says the cheers seem violent and asks Lissa, what would Jesus Christ do? And I think that's, what would Jesus cheer? I think that's funny. And then what happens is, Val is dressed as a nerd, and Lissa comes in wearing a toga. I thought that was funny. She thought it was Greek Day, not Geek Day. I mean, that's typical Lissa for you. Dumb as ever. I mean, Lissa just gets dumber by the minute, but that's why that's why I love Lissa. She's one of my favorite characters. But she tells Val she doesn't want to be cheer captain anymore, but Lissa, can't answer, and Sadie comes in, pushes the agenda, and Val says she needs an injury to get out of it, offers to hit her with the tape dispenser. Lissa freaks out and runs out, and Val tells Sadie that was a teachable moment, and basically what this is saying is that Sadie, I'm guessing, is now going to be the cheer captain. Now, honestly, I understand what Sadie was trying to do. I think she took things a little too far, probably, but I liked where it went overall. But that was the episode. And I loved this episode because of everything that we got in this episode. We saw a lot more of Maddie's personal life in this episode. We saw Eva finally being a great friend to Jenna. I love seeing that. As far as Tamara and Jake, I don't know what's going to happen there. I think just Jake is pissed at Tamara, and definitely Jake is destroying his life as well, because Jake was involved with the sophomores, and I really hope we see these sophomores again. I think the sophomores are probably going to end up being the big villain of this season, because they've screwed up everything now. They really have. They screwed up all of Eva, Jenna's relationship, sort of friendship with Maddie. They've screwed that up. They've screwed up Tamara's friendship / relationship with Jake. They've screwed up everything. So I definitely think the sophomores are going to be on for the rest of the show. Definitely forced to be reckoned with. It's gonna be really interesting to see what happens with them. Looks like in the next episode, Jenna's gonna find a new guy, and they're gonna go to a sorority party, and Jenna's might possibly find a new boyfriend. So I'm gonna be happy for her, because honestly, she can't be with Maddie right now. Maddie is literally on the verge of destruction. He just crashed his truck, and he lost his job. What's going to happen next, I don't know. I'm really hoping that he does get his life together. Will Maddie finally tell his mother he knows the truth? I'm really hoping he does. What else are these sophomores going to do to Maddie? I definitely, they're making him do things he's not thinking. I think the thing is, he's a senior, and he's not thinking. That's the thing. And I understand why he's not thinking. He's so upset by what's happened that he's just not thinking. And it makes perfect sense. Also, is Sadie now the cheer captain? I think that's probably what they're implying. Jen and Eva, I'm glad that they're friends now. What's going to happen with Tamara and Jake? I'm interested in seeing where that's going to go. But that's it for my review. I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this was by far the best episode of the season. I loved everything about it. It was probably the first perfect episode of the season. That's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for tonight's episode of Arrow, which should be amazing. So I'll see you guys for that. Bye.